Welcome to Life Workshop, where we discuss the forgotten basics. Hi everyone, again here we are, Doug and Mo.
Welcome back, hello.
Welcome to myself. So this is the second episode about how we draw a conclusion and why do we do that. So again, I'm going to continue with a few examples just to...
I think just a quick recap of what we said. How and why we draw conclusions from the previous one. It's convenient, it's easy, and it's for the other person then to make his own conclusion whether he wants to believe you or not. But it's the easiest thing in the world to give somebody your opinion.
This is, again, a value system that we have created. Now you're saying that, you remind me of this. There was this staff that we hired at one point, and from the very get-go, she didn't know much about how the system works, just very new. Mm-hmm. But if people would ask a question, she had answers for them.
Look them straight in the eyeball and tell them how it works.
And she talked it. And then I had another colleague that said that, wow, she's so good. My reaction, I said, to be honest, she's scaring me. Yeah. Because you're giving answers that you don't have.
Right.
What other answers are you going to have for people that I don't see?
And people believe that it's correct.
Yes, because now you're in the position of authority, which I had to have a nice talk with her that you cannot do that.
And I think this is probably one of the main things from the previous podcast was, it is okay to say, I don't know.
It's very smart,
don't
actually.
Have an opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very smart thing to say, I don't know. And this is where the value system we should switch. To say, if somebody says, I don't know, and ask simple questions, actually they are normally pretty smart in that.
Yeah.
I mean, Einstein says that ask questions like a child.
Right.
And normally they are the ones that they provide lots of good answers.
And if you can explain it, that a child can understand it, then you know.
You have understood it well, yes. Yeah. So again, these are... we have to promote the behavior of asking questions. We have to encourage the fact to say, I don't know, and be okay with that. And we have to promote the fact that I have no opinion. I don't know. If I'm even backing up, for example, I'm following. For most of the part, we are followers. I don't want now, I'm going too far with this. Very quickly, I'm going to say that. Most of the time, we are followers versus leaders. The only things that, for example, we are good at, there are very few, for example, in our, let's say, expertise that we have in something that we can be a leader. But for most of the things, we are followers. And being a follower is okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually very good. Yeah. And I really don't like when, it is encouraged, you should be a leader. But I'm not. I cannot go tell my mechanic, do this.
Not in this instance. I mean, you're a leader in your workplace, because you're a qualified, experienced, knowledgeable physiotherapist. Yes.
But the rest of the stuff.
Correct.
Yeah. But you can ask very simple questions.
Knowing your COVID vaccine and what it... Yeah. It's just not you.
Even I'm going back now to this. When I was building the house in here, I don't know construction. And actually, maybe I'm going to throw this very quickly, because once it happened that years ago, not about my house, it was about my business that we were doing. And then I'm going to make it very quick. Somebody suggested something which didn't make sense. Anyway, it just didn't make sense. And I realized that probably he wants to fool me. And I didn't, my knowledge of construction was even less than what it was when I started doing the house. So I told him this. I said, look, if you come and tell me you can build a house and my building on 4 toothpicks, I would say that's awesome, because you save me a lot of money and I can bring you 4 toothpicks for free. It doesn't cost me anything. The only challenge is I'm going to ask somebody who knows to see, can you build a house or a building on 4 toothpicks? If they say no, then you're out.
Right.
So I follow, and I've had this rule. I don't know if you remember when I was doing that. No. Actually, I didn't know you then. It was like you were not. But again,
I mean that. So that guy gave him, or he gave him your, his opinion, but at least you were luckily at that point, clever enough to question his opinion. You didn't just take it and go.
Yeah, he seemed, to me, he was one person that seemed very fraudulent, and he was ready to oversell at any cost for me. And I didn't even say that I know this, because I don't.
Yeah.
I came up with this rule. Actually, this is exactly what I did. This is 11 years ago that I came up with this rule. You can say anything you want to, and I will believe it. The only thing is that my belief doesn't count. I'm going to talk to somebody else who knows.
Right.
If they say yes, then it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I exactly did that. And I told a lot of the contractors at that time, whenever we were doing my commercial building, we were fixing it, doing the renovation. And that was my rule. And I had somebody actually that I was using that I would go and ask question.
Right.
And that is how it works. But I didn't have my own opinion based per se. I was just asking simple question.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, again, things worked very well. And a lot of them, as a matter of fact, even when I was doing the house in here, again, by simply asking question, except one case scenario, I have said it in another podcast, I don't want to bore people. By asking simple question, nobody thought that, oh, you're dumb. But that was a dumb question. Often it was looked at as is very smart. So a lot of it is assumptions that we make, that when we say that asking a question that might sound dumb, it is not.
Yeah. That's true.
And we will learn. There are some dumb questions, but but as we do make those mistakes, as we make them, then we realize how the question can become smarter, and we get better at it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, now I'm going to go back again to these quick conclusions that we make. I had this friend of mine that she had bought a house recently, and then one day she's in a hurry. She wants to get out of the garage with her car, so opens the garage door. And then she runs into the garage door. She hits the garage door, the bottom panel of it with the top of her car. And then anyways, she said this about herself. She said, I was so stupid. I said, no, you made a mistake.
Right.
Stupid is the one who goes back and again hits it again. Again. Did you do that? No. I said, so that's a mistake.
It's just a mistake. Yeah.
And a lot of people miss it. And the reason that I brought that up with her, I said, when you make such a mistake, put the right words to it. By saying you're stupid, you make yourself to become that too.
Right. But I guess why do people do that? Because I would imagine I do the same, where I go, oh, that was so stupid. Why did you do that? And it's a reaction. It's instant where you go, yeah, that was so stupid.
Actually, the reactions are the result of the behaviors we have had in the past.
Yeah. Right.
Remember, I'm going to say this. I did martial arts. So, for example, now if somebody throws something at me, I would not say, wow, why? Because I have learned how to kind of defend.
Mm-hmm.
So the reactions that we have is without thinking. But if we practice something, we do it without thinking. The same way as we drive.
And you can apply that same knowledge to your reaction when you drive into your garage door.
No.
Actually,
okay. The garage door, of course, it was opening. Sometimes you make mistakes. That is why it's a mistake.
Yeah.
But where I was going, the conclusion that she said is a stupid versus me saying it's not a stupid, it's a mistake, is that why do we think that way? The reason for the thinking is because of the thing that we have learned in the past, that we blame ourselves very quickly.
Yeah.
Versus to say it was just one incident, it was a mistake. That's it. And do we make mistakes? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But the mistake is not identify you as being a stupid.
I'm just thinking of something where I draw a conclusion, like you're having a regular work day, there's one thing that goes bad halfway through the day. You get to the end of the day and you go, oh, that was a horrible day.
Becomes highlighted, yes. Bad news makes it good news.
Because you made the conclusion that the entire day is going to be horrible because you made a mistake at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And actually, that's very true. We talked, touched this on this one, in another podcast. And the idea again is that when we are not as realistic to say it was just one mistake and what was the root cause of it, that's it.
And move on, yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. You're Hollywood, the whole thing.
That is the thing. Yes. We do that. We do that. And now, this is another thing. If we bring it up with friends,
we'll laugh at you a little bit and then we'll have a conversation about
it. Some they make it worse. And
Yeah,
they make
true.
you even feel worse than
Make
it
you
used to
feel-
be.
Yeah.
And some, unfortunate few, but I'm hoping there will be more of those people around that they say, no, it was just a mistake and things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one incident. What about the lots of other
Yeah.
good things that has happened?
Right.
Okay, now I'm saying you're saying this. I'm going to throw this one. My house that, for example, I built when there was one drywall screw that popped out, and I had one of the guys said that, oh, there is a drywall screw popping out. I said, yeah. Doesn't that bother you? I said, no. He said, but it should bother you. I said, then I'm sorry, I'm making a mistake. And then my answer, I said, so let me conclude this. Are you saying I should be not happy because of one drywall
This
screw,
entire house is bad because there's one pop drywall screw.
or I should be happy that I have this beautiful house? How do you want to look at it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very wrong way of looking at things. And we make these mistakes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping by highlighting that, actually, I should say this friend that I said, himself, as a matter of fact, I think he's not the happiest person. He's very perfectionist in some stuff.
Okay.
And when you're perfectionist in that sense, I am perfectionist, but I don't think in that sense.
Right.
Perfection in the sense that everything should be clean and this and that. So it becomes a lot of stress. What do you need is that? The best way.
Challenges, yeah.
You're putting a lot of effort for something that doesn't have the value really.
It's got no effect. Yeah, it's got no value. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to make it any better or any worse. Yeah, it's just.
And you're giving it the value which doesn't deserve it.
Right.
It doesn't mean because you give it value, all of a sudden it has value.
Right.
No, you gave it value.
It's again your own conclusion of what that means in your life.
Actually, when I'm saying this, because sometimes people say, but people think differently. I said that is why people make mistakes and they do wrong, because they think differently. It doesn't mean because you think differently, it becomes okay. Sometimes it's actually not okay. You thought differently, we know that, and that is why you were wrong. As I said, sometimes you have reason for everything, but because you have a reason doesn't make it reasonable.
everyone can have an opinion and a conclusion, but it's wrong.
Yeah, very simple. It can be. And most of the time actually are. But now I'm going to go back again to conclusions that we make. For example, they say that patients I have had patients that sometimes they get better, and then at times they conclude that, for example, this ultrasound or the TENS machine that you did made me better. Instead of asking which part of it, that was it the exercise, was it I do some other thing, mobilization or some other thing that I do, the stretching. Which part was it that made you better?
No, I think we said previously it's the magic hands. I think that's what we
and
said.
the halo. But again, it is it is the conclusion that we draw very quickly, and sometimes it doesn't relate. I should tell you this. Years ago, I was buying life insurance, although I'm not going to be dying. I may disappear, but
Just to clarify, I've got nothing to do with it.
with my disappearance,
got nothing to do.
you're the first suspect probably. But then, for example, there was this lady that I bought the insurance from for my own life insurance. Then after I bought that, then she said, "Do you want to buy life insurance for your son?" I said, "No." Then this was her thing. "Don't you love him?" I said, "I love him alive, not dead." What's the correlation between the two? What's the correlation between me loving him and buying life insurance on him?
Yeah.
And very frequently in sales talk, they use those kind of things. Actually, there is another thing. They call it a yes ladder. So I would encourage people that if you're interested, go on YouTube. You can do yes ladder, and then you will see the thing. The yes ladder, the salespeople that they are very clever about, very good at their sales thing, they come and talk to you about the things that you absolutely agree.
Correct. You just keep saying yes.
Yeah, because this is something that you don't disagree. For example, you say that this is a beautiful winter day for Regina. It's not that cold.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It is cloudy, as you might see in the thing. Yeah.
Yes, it
so
is.
you just agree. And then they will get 6 yeses. Then they throw the thing that they want to sell you. So because
Do you want a vacuum cleaner? Yes, I have one.
Which has no relationship with the whole conversation before.
Right.
The same way that when you see the politician, they send a picture of their happy family. Look, I'm such a good politician. I have a happy family. And we are all smiling in the picture.
That's a beautiful photo. Wow. Yeah.
So again, these things happen very, very frequently. Anyway, so another correlation. For example, once there was this guy that he knew me. I said that I get up early in the morning, and then because he knew another Iranian guy who got up early in the morning.
So one other guy who gets up early.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he said, "Is that an Iranian thing?" I said, "Well, there are 85 million of them out there. I don't know." I said, "No, I exercise early in the morning, not because you know two people."
So there's no correlation about Iranian people getting up in the morning because there's two.
84 million of us do that. 1 million don't. Everybody at 5 o'clock. But it was just a silly way. And we do this very frequently. We do it. I mean, I have done it personally, so I'm not basically just making... we do this all the time. I just want to bring the awareness that let us be a bit more clever about the things that we say. And if we make a mistake, say, oops, I screwed up. Say it. It's okay. And that shows that you're smart, that you caught yourself making the mistake, because the process of change is this. You will make the mistake. At least you realize it and acknowledge it, and it's cool.
And I think if once you do that, you realize it, you acknowledge it, and that just brings the awareness that you're going to try not to do it again.
And actually, there is a very simple solution to all these things that I said. You don't have to be thinking about every single case scenario. And the simple
just ask
solution...
questions.
Look at you. Listen. I'm compressed.
Compressed?
Or impressed. One of the two. Pick the one.
That one. I'm going to go with impressed. Yeah.
But no, seriously. Simply ask a question. If you want, why do you get up early in the morning? That's all.
True. Yeah.
There is nothing
ask
else.
A question.
Yeah. And then the correlation can be completely wrong. But anyway.
I mean, the correlation comes from people making their own conclusions. It's really it.
But look, for example, there is a stat that shows... By the way, before I say that, how big is your feet? What's your size are you?
9.5.
Okay, mine is 10. So anyway,
if I said 10, what would your size have been?
10.5.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you're lying.
Just to win the conversation.
Okay.
But there is a stat that they show that people with the smaller feet are not as smart as people with bigger feet. And the stat is very true, actually. Because children, they have smaller feet. But this is the thing. We make this kind of things, and sometimes, okay, you think this is silly, but let me bring it up to the real case scenario. Have you seen, for example, on the news, how many $1 million or $1 billion was spent?
On what?
On, for example, something in the country or something.
Okay.
What's how much is that per the big picture of the thing?
Are we talking Zimbabwe dollars?
Yeah, I know. I know. That would be different, the story. But no, even, for example, we say $10 billion. But $10 billion for a country, what's the relativeness,
For what? When?
And is it
what
a big
country?
is this a big number, or is it yeah. I have no idea. But $10 billion, and our politicians, they exactly do this. When depending on their mood, that what they want to swing
what do they want to get out of it? Yeah.
Yes. Then they will come with a dollar value or a percentage of, for example, GDP and whatever it is. But so they send it completely out of correlation. This is where I'm going. It is this. So the thing that's a smaller feet, they're not as smart as the big feet. You might think this is a silly thing. No, it is true. But because children, they have a smaller feet. But the conclusion is stupid. The conclusion has nothing. Because of that, my feet are bigger than his. Just wanted to beat you in that one. But this is the thing. But we do make the same mistake, the exact same mistake, or not just mistake. Sometimes we lie. It's a very white lie that they come and then they give a dollar value versus a percentage, and you give the information to the public that doesn't even know. What does this mean?
There's no context to his spent $10 billion.
Yeah, what does that mean? For example, when they say, I don't know, Canada help this poor country. Oh, they give $10 billion. $10 billion is like a peanut for a country.
Right.
And I'm not saying yes or no to doing it or not. I'm not saying that.
There's no context to it, as we said. It's
but somebody,
what?
exactly.
Yeah.
But we don't know that information, and they don't provide you with that. And then they throw you some numbers, depending on what they want to do.
Well, they're trying to force you to make a conclusion that'll be of benefit to them.
And that is called a lie. Yes, because you haven't told the truth in a way.
Or manipulation.
Yes, which is a lie.
Which is a lie.
Yeah. We in a Canadian way, we try normally to put a nice word to it. Don't say lie. It's just manipulation. Just to be very polite. No, it's a lie.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It's a lie. There is no black and white thing. It is black and white. It's just a lie. So we make this kind of mistakes very, very frequently, and sometimes we do them intentionally. Again, the moral of the story at the end is this. The simplest way to fix all these things is
ask
questions. Yeah. Don't have opinions, just ask questions. And don't be afraid of saying,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not my field. And no, I'm not a leader. I'm a follower. But I'm a smart follower.
Yeah.
I ask questions.
And I think at least in conclusion for me is people appreciate you asking questions, and it builds better relationships, and it increases your own performance.
Yes, actually, very much true. When you ask questions, you give credit to the other party, and often the other party, they become a better person.
Yeah, it's appreciated.
Yes.
And it's, to me, it's relationships at the end of the day. You just, it becomes more honest and open. Yeah.
Actually, I have to say this. I don't know if you remember, there was this show, it's a kind of an old show. It was called Officer Colombo. He was a police officer that he was an investigator.
I think it was just called Colombo.
Colombo?
I think so.
Okay, maybe
before
Colombo.
my time, because you're old.
But Colombo, maybe it was just that. But anyway, he was trying to investigate very, hard situations. Yeah. And he was asking very dumb questions. Did you kill the person?
Was that a yes or a no?
Then, yeah. And then he would just simply approach things and often, not often, in the show, he would solve all the problems. But really, there was something real about it.
The simplicity of his approach.
And it does work. It is very true. I have done it, honestly, it has worked. And yes, there was one case, for example, that thought that my question is stupid. When I asked, for example, my guide about staining the thing, don't do anything stupid. So what is stupid?
If you don't know.
Yeah. And then after I explained that to him, a little bit, then he realized that his comment was stupid.
Right.
But anyways, again, we will end it here, but we are going to continue with a few more examples because I think really it's a good topic. At least I'm liking it. Okay. Again, life is simple. Please don't make it complicated. And again, please, if you can bring this up with other friends and, just, again, do a self-reflection. What mistakes do you make and what mistake other people make when we start having comments and ideas about the things that really don't know? And we just draw quick conclusions.
And I think from everybody, we're saying ask questions. If you guys have got questions for Mo, please share them.
Ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, take care all.